Hello, everyone, and welcome back to piano. Just a quick recap of what we've been working on, mainly our five-finger scale, actually, which means that each of the notes in our five-fingered hand on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And last week, we really broke down and looked at the tas and titis, or the quarter notes and the eighth notes, as well as the quarter rests with these rhythm cards that I had linked to last week. And the mission for you was to take that five-fingered scale and incorporate those rhythms to start to make up your own melodies and to get used to reading and interacting with the rhythms. If you have any questions about that still, please message me through the classroom and I would love to help you out with those. All right, using just again as a recap, using this one, this ta, t, 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 or 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and using that as my base, I could do something like this. I'm going to keep my shell like I have been the last several weeks. In my left hand, I'm actually going to pulse it to keep the beat, the overlying beat, and this would be the rhythm too. Here I go. Now, I don't know if you caught it, but I actually altered one of the beat 4s and let it go longer. So that's something that will naturally happen. You're really being creative and making up your own elements in all of this. So moving forward, I would like to share with you the book that we will be starting in. Now I'm using the Faber Piano Adventures books, and we're going to start with level 1 since I haven't really heard from anyone if they're absolute beginners or if they have already been through the books. There's one or two students I've heard from, but not really anybody else. So if you haven't and still would like to let me know if this is either too basic or too advanced for you, please let me know. This is the website for pianoadventures.com. You can actually order the book either in a print edition, hard copy, or the digital. And I will be posting this link temporarily up on the classroom site just so that you guys can have access to it until we're back in school in the next couple of weeks. I can't leave it there due to copyright issues, but I do want you guys to have some access to it so we can keep on learning. So this is the one we're starting with, the primer level, lesson 1, and I'll just kind of skim through it. So here's the beginning. I've got a table of contents. How you sit, how you hold your hands, all things that we've covered, essentially, the fingerings. I mean, this really does start from the very beginning. And if you're still a little unsure or you're still just comfortable with the really basic, then I would encourage you to start right about here. This is on page 14 and 15. Particularly 15 is where you start playing. And what you see here in this book are little charts up in the top. Your right hand is the RH, your left hand is the LH, and then your finger numbers. Now keep in mind, finger number 1 is the thumb, like you're giving yourself a thumbs up all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these two would be your pointer and your middle fingers. But you don't want to keep your hands really flat like this, as we've talked about that snowball. You want to make sure they're curved so you're still using the tip of your fingers. All right, I'm actually going to skip up here to show you these two, the walking song and the tightrope walker. Now here, they give you the diagram of where your fingers go, the 3 fingers, 2, 3, 4, left hand, right hand. And then they show you these symbols, these dots with the lines on them. Now that, you'll probably remember, is your ta, or your quarter note. I know it's got these numbers up, but that essentially is just your basic rhythm. And we'll see that a lot in music. So you get one beat, and there are no measure lines in here. So it's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and so on and so forth. Now the numbers then are your finger numbers. So this whole song that's what it looks like. You can also pull it up from the classroom link, because again, I'm linking to this book so you can see it, and I'll play it for you so you can hear and see what it sounds like. All right, so my fingers are up here. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 goes like this. Okay, so I played it rather zippy, but you'll notice how it was just very beat, 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 beat. ta, ta, ta the whole time. Okay. Now, the tightrope walker, you'll notice how it's missing some of your finger numbers. And that's because anytime you've got a note right next to it, it even says repeated note is the same finger. So 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4 is how that song would go. All right. Now I'm leaving it up to you guys to really kind of work through this at your own pace. A lot of these are going to be simpler towards the beginning, and they get challenging, you know, the further and further you go. Oh, okay. So here we've got a new rhythm introduced. We actually did not cover this last week. So we have the tas, or the quarter notes, which are worth 1 beat each. But these are called half notes. They get 2 beats. They are 2 of the quarter notes together. So 2 quarters make a half. Think of the money system. You've got 4 quarters in a dollar, and you've got 2 half dollars in a dollar. And we can also call them taos. So you hold it, and then you just let the sound last for 2 total beats. So if I was to do the I Like song on page 19, then it would sound like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now notice how I'm kind of bouncing my wrists to help me keep track of where the beat's at and everything. You want your wrists to be really flexible as you play. Maybe not flippy floppy like this, but you definitely want them to have a little bit of give to it. It gives a little bit of bounce and a little bit of non-forcefulness into your musical playing. All right, keep on going. Here they introduce a whole nother rhythm right here. The whole note, it's a whole circle. It's 4 quarter notes. It takes up the whole measure. And a measure, again, we haven't really looked at it, but a measure is just this area, if you look down at the bottom, between these lines. Okay, it's something that music has, but not a lot of people actually notice it until they really start looking. So it's just saying right in here, this gets 4 beats. And look, that's just a whole stack of those whole notes. 4 beats, that's what that little 4 is. 4 beats, 4 beats. Hey, each of these quarter notes gets 1 beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. Half note gets 2 beats, 1, 2, plus 1, 2 equals 4. And that's the rhythms. Okay, I am kind of assuming that you guys have been exposed to these. If you haven't and I'm going too fast, you can back up. You can go, again, you can just start at the beginning of the book and work your way from there. Please ask me questions if you do have questions. But I'm also going to move ahead here into the musical alphabet. And that's a big thing that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about, and we haven't really gotten to. So, finding your way around the piano looks like it's really hard and challenging because there's so many notes and keys. But as long as you know where to start off with and have a starting spot, everything gets easier, and it's kind of a landmark method for finding things. So, the faithful companion who's going to help show us where everything is Snoopy, Charlie Brown's dog. Now, most dogs have a doghouse, if they're outside dogs anyway. And most dogs would be inside the doghouse, okay? Bear with me. This is a little dog right here. And there we go. It's a pup dog right there. You can totally tell that is a little dog. Okay, there we go. So most dogs would be inside, but not Snoopy, because if you've ever seen any of the Charlie Brown movies, you know that Snoopy sleeps on top of his doghouse. Okay. He's sleeping. Yay. Okay, and he's definitely sleeping there. So there's Snoopy, sleeping on top, snoozing on top of his doghouse. Well, the doghouse is the point that we really want to look. So this doghouse actually has 2 shingles to it. And again, if we can find the doghouse on the piano, most dogs would be sleeping in the doghouse. So look at this little outline shape right here with the 2 shingles. And if you look on a piano, well, here's this outline shape right here. And there are the 2 shingles. And inside of the 2 shingles is where the doghouse is. All right, now, next to the dog, of course, we have the cat, because that's what cats live to do, right? Torment the dogs. And There's your C. So D for dog. There's your C for your kitty cat. There's inexplicably an elephant on the other side. And I would draw them all out, but I'll make this video a little bit too long. So the animals are in the small house. And then right next to that, we have a bigger house with 3 shingles. And you can kind of see the outline of this house here. 2 doorways. It's kind of like a condo. And inside that lives the grandma and the auntie. And the auntie likes to watch the butterflies out the window, and the grandma likes to set the fish in the fish pond outside. So there we go. So you've got grandma and auntie inside the house, and then you've got your critters in their littler house. So that's one way that you can really find your notes here. And if this is your dog house, well, there's your cat. Ah, see? And then here's the larger house. So there's your grandma, there's your auntie. Here's the butterflies just outside the house. Here is the fish out in the fish pond just next to the house. There's your elephant, because why not? Your dog in your dog house, and then your cat right next to the dog. Well, here's another big person house. So there's grandma and auntie again. Here's all the butterflies that the cat's chasing when it's not tormenting the dog. Okay, so finding those landmarks then is really going to help you out. Here's another thing to realize though, is how many letters did I just draw? I only did 7. So your musical alphabet literally is this big. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's it. That's your entire piano right there. Okay, now a lot of people like to do this so that the black keys don't get in the way. That's still C, D, E, F, G, A, or G, A, B, and then it repeats on C. So this is only as big as your piano keyboard is, and that makes it look a lot less scary. But for those who get bored with limited options, they just repeated it and repeated it and repeated it a whole bunch of times. And that's why the piano looks so large. Now in the book, here is, again, here's the alphabet. Here's the whole slew of it. And after G comes A, and it just restarts everything again. All right. Now, our new songs here, it still shows you the left hand, right hand, the finger numbers, and it tells you what letters you're actually playing on. Notice how they're orienting around C position. So C is the lowest note that they play. And I mentioned that before as well. The lowest finger on your hand that you're playing is going to be C. Now we've been using the 5 fingers, C position. Here they're just using 3 fingers. Again, it's important not to keep your fingers flat, but you want them curved like this. Okay. So, Merrily We Roll Along, then, is the first song where you actually have just the letters, and they do stop showing you the fingers fairly soon. But here's the secret to reading music, really. It's looking for the patterns. So, E, they even have the little notes in here, E, D, C, D, but you see how it goes down and then back up? And then these 3 are staying the same right in a row. So you don't even need to know that those are E's, just that they're on the same spot. You could even take a ruler and draw a line through all of the E's just to see how far away all the notes are. D is a little bit lower, and then it's the same. E is a little bit higher. Same thing here. It goes down, comes back up, stays the same, down a little, up, down, down. And then if I played it, sounds a lot like Mary Had a Little Lamb, but here's where my fingers are, and if I played it, it would go like this. I'll sing the words just so you can follow along. So, merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along. Merrily we roll along, over the deep blue sea. 2, 3, 4. And I had to count C, 2, 3, 4 because it gets 4 beats, and C would have been on beat 1. C, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. All right. So there's essentially the book. And then again, it gets more challenging. Here you've got all 5 fingers. The measure it talks about with this line right here, Men from Mars, which is actually, I think that's a really fun song. And it gets tricky because now they only give you the very first finger number, which in this case is your thumb. And the chart is actually the same as this one up here. So if you're wondering why there's not a fingering chart, it's just the same on both pages. And we're going to stay in the C position for a really long time. That's why here underneath the title where it says C 5-fingered scale, that's what they're talking about. That's just automatically where your fingers are going to go for the C 5-finger scale. Okay. Again, the same thing we've been working on the last several weeks. And then just the rhythms with your ta-o or your half note right there, half note right there. And again, the measure line really is there to help keep your eyeballs on track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, just so that you don't get lost as easily. And depending on how easy you find this, I mean, you can keep going, keep going, keep going. Some of the notes here are the same. I know this looks like it was drawn in, but that was intentionally done by the publisher. And I advise you to read all of these as you go, okay? When we're going to be in class, we'll use a little bit of the book. A lot of it will be you working through it on your own. I'll check songs here and there to see if your technique is all right, but there's honestly so much to piano that I want you guys to enjoy this year besides just following the book. It's a very useful tool, don't get me wrong, and it'll really help you learn to read music, but it's not the only thing that we're going to be doing. And a lot of you will find that you move faster or slower than the rest of your classmates, and that's going to be totally okay. All right. Some of you might even burn through the book in the first week. Some of you might not even be in this book. You might have gone on to level 1 or even 2, but there's still plenty to learn. Right? So there's the book for you this week. And again, I'm posting that link, and I would like you to just start with it and see how far you get. Leave me a comment in the classroom message system below of the class page and the assignment page. And then again, as in the past weeks, keep on exploring the piano. So I know a lot of times we've had this hand being the pulse and this hand being the melody. But again, you can switch the roles of the hands. You can even mix them up. I mean, things like that. And I'm just using my 5-finger scale, using the TT-ta concept, and just playing around. It sounds pretty nice. I'm not going too fast. I'm not going faster than I can. And I'm just enjoying what I'm playing. And that's the most important part about learning any instrument, is that you get to enjoy what you're doing. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions around the book or anything else. And leave a comment. Let me know how you guys are doing and progressing. And I'll see you later. Bye.